The Odyssey, Book 1, by Homer, with a little help from me. It is morning. The sun is rising. People are making their way to the open space where the rhapsode will perform.
Tell me, O Muse, of that resourceful man.
The goddess is with us.
Shh, it's starting. It has begun.
Who was driven far and wide to wander after he had had his part to play in the sacking of pious Troy. He saw the cities of many peoples and learned of their ways. The rhapsode begins his epic song with the proem, which introduces the themes, the protagonist, a taste of what's to come. Many were the sorrows he suffered at sea as he struggled to bring home his men and himself, but he failed to save them all, despite his great efforts. Because of their own stupidity, they consumed the oxen of the sun god Helios, and he doomed their return. From this point, O Muse, speak and begin our story.
This rhapsode could be Omeros, Homer, apparent author of the Iliad and the Odyssey, called by Plato first teacher of the tragedians, the leader of Greek culture, and the teacher of all Greece. Herodotus estimated his life to be around 850 BC, but others guess him to have been alive between the 12th and 8th centuries BC. Thucydides called him the blind bard of Chios, but plenty of hero cults around Greece claimed him as their own. We know little about him, even whether he existed at all, but Demodocus, the bard in Book 8, could be a self-portrait. Having established the themes, the rhapsode begins to set the scene. All the other heroes had returned from Troy, except Odysseus, who was being kept by the nymph Calypso in her island cave, even though he longed to return to his country and wife. The gods of Olympus now decided that Odysseus should go home. They had all begun to pity him, except Poseidon, who still persecuted and delayed the hero. An audience member wonders, what did Odysseus do to upset the sea god? Poseidon had now gone to visit the Ethiopians, who live at the ends of the earth, and who had offered to him a hecatomb, a sacrifice of 100 victims of sheep and oxen. Meanwhile, the other Olympians had assembled, and Father Zeus had begun discussion among them.
The mortals blame us for their problems when it's their own fault.
He discusses the example of
Aegisthus. He shouldn't have killed Agamemnon or stolen his wife. We sent Hermes to tell him what would happen, but he failed to listen. And now Agamemnon's son, Orestes, has taken his revenge, and Aegisthus has paid the price.
Aegisthus helped his lover, Queen Clytemnestra of Mycenae, kill her husband, King Agamemnon, and his Trojan slave Cassandra when they returned from Troy. But the children avenged their father.
It's funny you should say that.
Athene, flashing eyes, brings up her favourite hero.
Aegisthus got what he deserved, but Odysseus hasn't. Wise and unlucky Odysseus is pining away, far from his friends. He is being held captive by the daughter of Atlas and her persuasive words. Odysseus only wants to see home again, but meanwhile he yearns for death.
That's an ignoble end for a hero.
Did the sacrifices he made at Troy win no favour from you? Are you at odds with Odysseus?
This is a very persuasive speech, but then she is the goddess of wisdom.
Nonsense! How could I forget admirable Odysseus? He is both the wisest man alive and the most generous in his offerings to we gods. But he is hated by Poseidon because of how he hurt Polyphemus, Poseidon's son by the nymph Thoosa.
This is teasing a future plot.
That is why Poseidon has kept Odysseus in exile. But if we all make a plan together against him, he must relent, yes.
Thus the plot is set in motion.
Father Zeus, if it is now the pleasure of the blessed gods that Odysseus return home to Ithaca, then let Hermes the messenger go to the island of Ogygia so that he can tell the nymph Calypso immediately of our unchangeable decision.
For this story, you need to look at book 5.
Meanwhile, I shall go to Odysseus' son Telemachus and instill the courage in him to call the long-haired Achaeans to an assembly and speak his thoughts to the crowd of suitors that spend their time eating him out of house and home.
The suitors are men who want to marry his mother and become king.
Then I will send him to Pylos and Sparta to get news of his father and win the praise of men for doing so.
Aw, his first kudos. Athene got ready. She picked up a huge heavy spear, the point of sharpened bronze. It breaks the ranks of noble warriors when she is angry with them. Sandals of untarnishable gold. They carry Athene with speed of the wind over water or unending land. Then Athene flashed down and stood on the threshold of Odysseus' court. And to look like a visitor, she took the appearance of a family friend, Mentes. She found the insolent suitors sitting around in front of the doors, eating and drinking and playing games, while pages cut meat for them in lavish portions, while Telemachus sat disconsolate among them, imagining his noble father coming back and driving the suitors from the house. Telemachus was first to see Athene and rose to meet her, ashamed a guest had been left waiting at the door. The theme of Xenia, hospitality, is now introduced. Welcome, friend. Have some food before you tell us your business. Xenia checklist 1. He grasps the right hand, he offers food and drink, and business is left until afterwards. Telemachus 1, suitors nil.
Oi, where's the wine?
Xenia 2. Telemachus took Mentes, actually Athene, to a beautiful carved chair spread with a linen cloth and a stool for her feet. He put her spear in the rack full of Odysseus' beautiful spears and drew up an easy chair for himself, well away from the uncouth suitors in case his guest took offence at their racket. He thinks, I must ask about my father. Continuing the theme of Xenia, a maid brought water in a golden jug and poured it over a silver basin. That's for him to wash his hands. 4. She then brought up a polished table, and the faithful housekeeper brought bread and set it by delicious food, and helped them generously to all she could offer. 5. Then a steward served them plates of meat he had selected for them, and gave them golden cups that he had filled with wine as he passed round the hall. So this is a formula for Xenia. It will be repeated step by step each time good Xenia occurs, good hospitality. Then the suitors, 1, sauntered in. 2, their squires. 3, washed their hands. 4, they helped themselves to the good food. 5, and then their thoughts turned to entertainment and Phemius the bard that they had forced into their service. This is the same formula as before, but note the differences. They are uninvited and they take what they want. This is rude. This is not good Xenia. Telemachus speaks to Mentes. My friend, I must speak. And I hope you will not be angry. How easy it is for that gang to think of nothing but enjoyment. This could be a test for his guest. They are living free off another man whose bones are probably littering a distant shore or being rolled by the waves. He berates the total lack of Xenia the suitors are showing as guests of Odysseus. They don't even care that he may have suffered a death without kudos. One glimpse of him back in his home and they'd be wishing for a fast pair of legs instead of all their gold and finery. Note, I like to think Telemachus would have acted like this, but as we'll see, he's been brought up better, so would probably have kept this quiet so the suitors didn't hear. And also, Athene, god of wisdom, is sitting right there. But I'm drawing this and I'm angry on his behalf. But as it is, he continues, he must have come to a grisly end and no one can possibly ever bring us the happiness of news of him. Dramatic irony. But tell me now, honestly, who are you? Where are you from? What is your town? Who are your parents? And, as you definitely can't have walked here, 1, what kind of vessel brought you here? How did your crew land here and who do they claim to be? 2, and please do tell the truth. Did you ever meet my father before or is this your first visit? 3, this is a formulaic set of questions to establish identity. Now that Xenia is complete, this is permitted. And he asks for these reasons. 1, it's an island after all, haha. Humour here breaks the ice. 2, Telemachus clarifies his role here as the highest status man in the palace, despite the suitors. He also suggests he knows Mentes is here secretly. 3. He asks 3 veiled questions. Are you an ally? Do you have stories? Are you a god? This may seem rude, a lot of questions and insinuations, but it is common practice, as he will see, and also helps to characterize Telemachus as intelligent and hopeful.
I will tell you everything honestly.
This is a lie, but a good-natured one. Mentes Athene now gives Telemachus details that will assure him his parentage and purpose, as well as answers to the 3 questions, all reassuring lies. Parentage.
My father was Anchialus, and I am Mentes, chief of the Taphians. I came here with my own ship and crew.
Purpose.
We are on the way to Temesa, the foreign port with iron to trade for bronze.
Why Telemachus can't see the ship?
My ship is berthed near the open country in Rhythron Cove beneath the Naonian woods.
Guest friendship.
Our families are linked in the distant past, as Lord Laertes, your grandfather, would tell you if you'd go to him. I hear that he no longer comes to the city, but lives miserably on his distant farm with one maidservant who feeds and waters him after he has dragged himself up and down the vines on the hill.
And now we have a new character and plot direction. Telemachus thinks, I should go see Lord Laertes.
Actually, I heard that your father was home. But his return must be being hindered by the gods. He must be being held on a distant island by savages.
This isn't entirely correct.
I am no seer,
Athene Mentes continues.
but the almighty gods have sent me a prophecy I feel will come true. Your resourceful father will return.
Mentes Athene has revealed just enough to make this idea plausible, but not reveal her as a god. And now she continues to inspire Telemachus like a real mentor, which, funny enough, is the character she's going to take in the next few books.
But are you Odysseus' son?
She questions.
You're a grown man, and you have his face and eyes. Such a shock to one such as I, who met him as he set out for Troy.
My friend, I will also be honest, says Telemachus. No man ever knows who their father is, though my mother says I am Odysseus' son. I wish I was the son of some lucky man growing old among his old belongings. But it's as you say, I am the son of the unluckiest man who ever lived. Telemachus is not convinced, despite Mentes pointing out the similarities between him and the younger Odysseus.
Yet,
says Mentes,
with Penelope as your mother, I'm sure your house is not doomed to a future without honour.
Homer uses Mentes Athene to introduce a new character, Odysseus' wife.
But,
continues Mentes,
what is this feast for? Who are these people to you? Is it dinner or a wedding feast? I see they haven't brought their own food. They're also rude and bullying. No right-minded man would approve this behaviour.
My friend, you may well ask. There was a time when once this house was respectable, when Odysseus was still here. Mentes is leading Telemachus. He is suggesting that the suitor's behaviour is lavish and inappropriate, which allows Telemachus to explain to the audience. But since the gods have had other plans for him, they have made him disappear. If he had died at Troy, 1, among his men, it would have been better, because then all the Achaeans, 2, would have joined me in raising for him a grave mound. 1 means in battle, where his exploits would gain him kleos, unlike the sea, where he gains none and won't be buried. 2, Achaeans is one of the names given to the Greeks as group, people from Achaia. But there is to be no glorious end for him. The winds and sea have him. He has gone where he cannot be found, and left me nothing but sorrow. Not only is that my only God-given sorrow, meaning fate, all of the nobles of Dulichium, Same, wooded Zacynthus, and rocky Ithaca are courting my mother. She cannot bear to take one as her husband to replace my father, but in the meantime they are eating me out of house and home and will destroy me. Athene, as Mentes, now inspires Telemachus to action by giving him 1, a show of support.
How disgraceful! Of course you miss your father. You need him to lay hands on this layabout mob. If only he could suddenly appear at the palace gates at this moment with his helmet, shield, and 2 spears.
2, Mentes gives inspiring memories of Odysseus.
Just as when I first saw him drinking with us happily in our house, that time he came from Sphyre after a visit to Murmerus' son Elus. He had sailed there to ask for a poison to coat his arrows, and Elus, God-fearing, refused. But my father loved him and could not refuse him.
Little sidebar here. That suggests that the gods disapprove of such cunning behaviour as putting, poison on your arrows.
Yet if only Odysseus would come back as he was then, it would be a sorry wedding for the suitors then. But such matters lie in the lap of the gods.
Dramatic irony and foreshadowing.
Meanwhile, I urge you to rid yourself of the suitors.
3. Athene Mentes gives Telemachus a plan.
In the morning, go to the council of Achaean lords to tell them your decision and ask the gods to witness it. The suitors must go home. If your mother is sure on marrying, let her go back to her father's house. He is a noble man and will ensure she has an excellent dowry, which is right.
This might seem odd for a grown woman and a queen, but women were entirely ruled by their male relatives at this time.
And for yourself, this is my advice. It's good advice. Take it. Choose your best ship, put 20 men aboard, and set out to inquire after your long-lost father. Someone may be able to tell you about him. You may hear one of the rumours from Zeus that are often true. Go and question noble Nestor in Pylos, then go to Sparta and speak to auburn-haired Menelaus last to get home.
Note, they really did not have maps like this. This is just for your benefit so you know where those places are. Even though Athene knows Odysseus is alive, as Mentes, she doesn't. So he suggests 2 outcomes.
If you hear that Odysseus is still alive and on his way back, you should allow yourself to endure 1 more year of these wastrels. But if you hear that he is long dead, return home, build a funeral mound with all the proper rites, and give your mother to a new husband. This done, think of a way to destroy this mob in your house, either by cunning, like Odysseus, or by open fight. You are no longer a child. You must put childish thoughts away. Have you not heard of the deeds of Orestes?
We have. He killed the killers of his own father.
You are a tall and splendid young man. Be as brave as him, and the generations will sing your praises. But my crew must be tired of waiting. I'll leave you to take charge. Consider my words.
Sir, says Telemachus, out of the kindness of your heart you have spoken to me like a father to his son. I will never forget your words. But stay longer, refresh yourself, then leave with a guest gift from me as a friend. Telemachus offers even more xenia and a traditional guest gift to link their families, but Athene as a goddess may not accept these gifts from mortals.
No, I must go. Do not detain me. I'll pick up the gift on the way back, so make it a good one.
And then she was gone. In Telemachus's heart, she had instilled spirit and courage and reinforced the image of his father. He was overcome with awe as he realized that a god had been with him. Now, godlike, he rejoined the suitors. He found them listening to the bard Phemius, singing of the Achaeans returned from Troy and their suffering sent from Pallas Athene. Upstairs, Penelope, daughter of Icarius, heard the words of his song and came down from her quarters with 2 waiting women at her side. Phemius, with all your knowledge of all the songs poets have made about the deeds of men and gods, you could tell many tales other than this. This song is too sad, for I was dealt the worst blow, to be forever in mourning for the best of husbands. Mother, Telemachus suddenly breaks in, don't begrudge our loyal bard. It is Zeus who deals with us mortals as he sees fit. Phemius is only singing the song the audience enjoys most. You must be brave and make yourself listen. Odysseus was not the only one not to return. So, go back to your rooms and the loom and the spindle and organise the servants. Decisions must be men's concern, and I am master in this house. Wait, what? Everyone is surprised at Telemachus's sudden leadership skills. He has been inspired. Penelope was surprised, but she took her son's sensible words to heart and went back to her quarters, weeping for Odysseus until Athene sent the relief of sweet sleep. "Pwah! I wish I could sleep with her," all the suitors think. "Gentlemen, this behaviour from you is insolence. For now, let us enjoy this excellent minstrel quietly. But in the morning, we should go in the assembly where I will reveal to you my demands for you to leave my palace. That's right, you can leave, go eat in each other's homes. But if you prefer to stay here to destroy another man's resources and not make any repayment, then go ahead, eat your fill, for Zeus will bring the day I destroy you." There is a shocked silence. Then Antinous, son of Eupeithes, the main suitor, speaks.
"It is obvious that the gods are teaching you this arrogant and daring way of speaking. As Odysseus' son, you are heir to his kingdom.
May the gods grant that you never become its king." "Antinous," Telemachus says, coolly firm, "you might be disappointed to know that I would gladly accept that role from Zeus. Perhaps you'd argue that there could be no worse fate, but I wouldn't. However, we have enough princes swarming Ithaca. Let one of them succeed Odysseus. For me, I will at least be king over my own house and my own servants." Eurymachus, son of Polybus, now speaks up. He's the second in command of the suitors.
"Telemachus, the gods will of course decide who will be our king. By all means, keep your property and rule your house. I pray no one lays violent hands on your property."
Oh, the irony. Antinous and Eurymachus, this gruesome twosome, are the ringleaders of the suitors, a pair of tricky, shady men. Now he changes the subject.
"But who was that guest of yours? What country and what people are his? Did he bring news of your father? He seemed honourable, but he left so suddenly."
"Eurymachus," Telemachus will not take the bait, "I'm sure my father will never return. There's no point believing in rumour and divination. My guest was an old, wise friend of my father's." I know it was Athene, but I'm not telling you that. "Mentes, son of Anchialus, chief of the Taphians." What a wise answer. Athene's visit has impacted Telemachus. We can really see he's Odysseus' son. Cunning. They revelled until dusk, and then each went off to his own home. Faithful Eurycleia escorted Telemachus to his bedroom. Eurycleia, daughter of Ops, granddaughter of Pisenor, Laertes had paid 20 oxen for her, respecting her like a wife, but not sleeping with her, due to his wife. Eurycleia nursed Telemachus, and also Odysseus. Telemachus threw open the door and gave his tunic to Eurycleia before she tucked him in. And he lay there all night, planning the journey that Athene had suggested. And that is the end of Book 1 of the Odyssey. Bonus. What's happened in Book 1 and where's Odysseus? So Odysseus will not be joining us until Book 5. He is currently trapped on the nymph Calypso's island of Ogygia. That's who Athene mentioned right at the start of Book 1. Hermes is going to go and tell her to let him go. The poet has instead in Book 1 given us exposition, which means context for the rest of the story, and has introduced main characters. We've got Telemachus, the son, about to become a man, his father's son. We've met Penelope, the loyal wife who's been running the kingdom. And we've met the suitors, the men who would take over. We've also met two of the main themes. Xenia, the theme of hospitality, which the suitors are breaking. And Nostos, the theme of homecoming, which Odysseus is about to get. I have videos explaining both of these main themes, how they pertain to the Odyssey. Watch them for more context. The poet has also introduced Odysseus through Athene's words as Mentes to Telemachus. We now know he is alive, not dead, as they all feared. We know he is being held captive. This is more bad Xenia. And we know that he is coming home. Finally, he is getting some Nostos. And when we meet him in Book 5, he will be sitting disconsolate on the seashore, just as we met Telemachus sitting disconsolate among the suitors. Yet another similarity between them, telling us that they are father and son, despite Odysseus having missed Telemachus' whole childhood. things are about to happen. If you've enjoyed that, have a look at my website where I have comics that explain all the books of the Odyssey that have been on the GCSE Classical Civilization in the UK, except book 22. I'm getting to it. You can also look at my other videos which give you context, and I have a whole set of videos explaining book 9, in my opinion, the best chapter of the Odyssey. Don't forget to subscribe and ping that bell. I don't post often, but when I do, I think you'll enjoy it. Bye for now.